Well, very soon it'll be 11:25, and therefore I thought I'd come on a few seconds earlier. It's Tom Padula from TomPadulaTV on YouTube and also Insegna Booksellers. And today is the presentation of the 19th Canto of Inferno by Dante Alighieri. This is a major work that gives honour to Italy over the centuries. It's a work specifically looking at the way we live and the way we sort of react to our life's journey. And along the way, there are many ways that you can take, and depending on what you do, and what each one of us does. The responsibility we have is that we have freedom, God's freedom. So we make decisions. Some people call it destiny. Well, we're making decisions along the way. Now, whether those decisions are preordained or not, I don't know. But I would assume that since we have free will, we are able to, in fact, exercise our free will. That's the idea. Now, Dante Alighieri was born in 1265 and died in 1321. So he was 56 when he died. But he lived a very interesting life, and since this is Canto 19, I'm assuming that those people who are coming on, yes, it's here we are. That's good. I don't know. I can't see that the live is on, but it says live. This is live. My iPhone today. Not giving me what I want. Anyway, never mind. Let's go on. Well, thank you to Harry Varelas for coming on. I hope, that gives me the clue that I'm on. Okay, so Canto, I'm going to do Canto 19 of Inferno, and my intention is to also eventually finish this particular book, the first book of the three-part series by Dante, covering hell, purgatory and paradise. So we Canto 19 of 34. So it's going to take a couple more months before we finish, 3 months maybe. But by that time I will have read all of the Inferno, and it's available here on my on my Facebook page, but also on my YouTube. It will be available on YouTube. It will be available also on my blogspot and other places. Wherever I can put it, I will. It'll be an online work that's available to everyone, so that I'm encouraging people to read Dante Alighieri. Of course, it's very difficult. It's a very difficult text. So it requires quite a knowledge of Italian, but I am explaining it in English as I go along. I don't know. I think the work that I'm doing at the moment is for people who have Italian as a second language in the English-speaking world. So we're all learning. Now, the hour is divided into 3 parts. The second part will be a reading from my book Amica Poesia, and Amica Poesia is actually, is actually a bilingual text. So there are 2 books, but today I have a piece called Scrivere di notte, writing at night. I think it's quite long, so I might not be able to translate it. And then finally, I travelled quite a bit in my, before the pandemic. I went to Caserta in 2018, and I took some film there. I thought, yeah, why not share this and share some of the places I visited, because I have a thing about photographs and videos, because I am a teacher of history as well as languages. Therefore, these things attract me. Someone else would be attracted by other things: bicycle riding, swimming, cooking, computers, outer space, anything. So each one of us has got something that we are attracted to, or some things that we're attracted to. And we have to respect those because that's what we have. So it's 11:30, time for me to start. Canto 19 of Inferno. Here we go. I'll read the notes first, as I normally do, so that when I read, there's a bit more information there. Here we go. Canto 19, nel quale sgrida contro gli simoniaci in persona di Simone Mago, che fu al tempo di San Pietro e di Santo Paolo, e contro tutti coloro che simonia seguitano. E qui pone le pene che sono concedute a coloro che seguitano il sopradetto vizio o dinomaci entro Papa Nicola degli Orsini di Roma, perché seguito simonia e pone della terza bolgia dell'inferno. So we are in the 8th circle of hell, and this is the third bolgia, the third part. This particular circle has, has the sinners over 13 of the canto in the Inferno. So it's really, these are the sinners that of different categories of human life. And this particular one relates to the religious orders. It doesn't matter which religion you follow. If you take advantage of the religious teachings, the religion that you represent, then you will be punished in hell. Because it's not, during the Middle Ages, for example, they used to sell indulgences. In other words, if you paid so much, the bishop or the cardinal or the pope would, guarantee you a place in heaven. Of course, they couldn't. So they were just taking advantage of their positions in the religious order. And in this case was the Catholic Church, the Christian church of the time. There was no Catholicism there, then came later. It was the Christian church in Europe. And the Pope was not only a religious leader, but also a temporal leader, a political figure, because he had his own lands and he had to administer those as well. And, very interesting, the Middle Ages, which basically began, the lower Middle Ages began after the Christianity took over as the state religion, so from the Roman Empire. And it was divided then in two and then in further parts as it went along. So I'll be covering these in history as well. So that's the one, so these are the simoniaci, people who sell religious favours, if you like. I'm not sure whether the people who seek those religious favours are actually punished as well. There's the one who does and the one who receives. Now, let's have a look. La simonia. This is another one of the notes in the book. La simonia è la compravendita di beni spirituali come cariche ecclesiastiche e indulgenze, prende nome da Simon Mago, che negli Atti degli Apostoli cerca di acquistare da San Pietro la capacità di compiere miracoli. So, simony is the compravendita, buying and selling of spiritual goods, like cariche ecclesiastiche. Even if you want to become a bishop or whatever, if you pay, you can become. You could buy the title, if you like. And this comes from Simon Mago, the magician Simone, who in the Apostles' Evangeli degli Apostoli, he asked Pietro and Paolo to give him the ability to complete, in other words, to do miracles for people by paying some money. So, la simonia permeava a tal punto la Chiesa medievale da coinvolgere gli stessi papi, su cui il canto è focalizzato. So, this particular canto actually refers to some of the popes, because this simoniaci were very, very influential in the Christian church of the Middle Ages. And this particular canto refers to some of the popes who were involved in this practice. Sono conficcati a testa in giù e agitano la parte inferiore delle loro gambe che sbuca dal suolo perché una fiamma perenne guizza sulle piante dei loro piedi. So these souls there are some like wells, and these souls they have their head down and their feet up, and the feet are outside of the well or of the hole, and they are burning. And they're moving, the body's moving all around, but with the head down. So il contrappasso è nell'inversione. So la legge del contrappasso, the opposite of what you do in life, which is wrong, you will get an appropriate punishment in hell. Il contrappasso è nell'inversione della priorità tra sacro, so between sacred and profane. This is the contrappasso. What you're doing wrong, then look at the sacred part of this particular aspect of sin, and the punishment is given appropriately. I piedi e non il capo sono toccati dalla fiamma della giusta punizione. So if you use your head to commit all these sins, now your feet are going to be burning forever, and your head is down. So this is a just punishment. Invece che dalla benedizione dell'acqua consacrata, instead of being consecrated by holy water, like in baptism. And there's a reference here to the to baptismal font. Okay. Now, Dante himself, in his time, broke one of the baptismal fonts in Florence, trying to save someone in the waters there. I'm not sure whether this is true or not, but anyway, that's what he uses. He says, Dante rompe il fonte battesimale. So, Dante paragona i buchi in cui i simoniaci sono conficcati ai pozzetti battesimali del battistero di San Giovanni a Firenze. So in San Giovanni a Firenze, if you go to Florence, in the baptistry there, the book or the well, it's like, that's what it looks like in hell. E ricorda di aver distrutto uno di questi pozzetti, little wells, in order to save a child that was, there was basically dying. He was, he must have put his head down in the water, and therefore Dante couldn't extricate him, so he broke the baptismal font. Nel racconto esistono diverse interpretazioni. So there are various interpretations for this. È possibile che Dante voglia semplicemente discolparsi da accuse di sacrilegio. So maybe Dante saw that he was going a bit too far, going against the popes. He says, well, I better do something about it so that I can, I will not be blamed for this. Welcome, Colin Ramsley. Thank you for coming on. Ma la rottura potrebbe simboleggiare le ripercussioni della simonia sul futuro della Chiesa. But this breakage of the sacred baptismal font could symbolize what could happen to the church, and it did happen, in fact, to the church as a result of this, the sins of simoniaci. In other words, Henry VIII, if you remember, he wanted to be divorced. And he asked the Pope if he could be divorced. And the Pope said, of course, no. And so what did Henry VIII say? Well, stuff you, I'm going to create my own religious group. And that's where Christianity then was divided up into Protestants, Catholics, Protestants, etc., etc. There are Luther, you know, all that area there that you need. That's what happened, in fact, centuries later. And one of the reasons was that this practice of buying and selling religious favours and the positions was a common thing in the church, in the Christian church. It doesn't matter which church it is, really. Any church, any philosophy where you go against it, it's the same thing. So let me start. Canto 19. I'm going to read it. If you've got the book, have it in front of you. It's always a good idea to follow my explanations. And you'll also pick up on the fact that sometimes, you know, I don't know some of it, so I need extra study. But I haven't got much time, so I've got to be quick about it sometimes. Here we go. O Simon Mago, o miseri seguaci, che le cose di Dio, che di bontate deon essere spose, e voi rapaci per oro e per argento avvolterate. Or convien che per voi suoni la tromba, però che nella terza bolgia state. So you are in the third bolgia, where the wells are. He called them rapaci, per ore e per argento, like, you know, rapacious birds. They focus on the gold and the silver, the betrayal of religious rules, moral rules. And now he goes back. He introduced, this is where we are. He says, this is where you are. Già eravamo alla seguente tomba, montati dello scoglio in quella parte che appunto a sovromezzo nel fosso piomba. So they're walking down and they're looking down. O somma sapienza, quante l'arte che mostri in cielo, in terra e nel mal mondo, a quanto giusto tua virtù comparte. So he gives praise to divine justice. He says, O somma sapienza, the maximum wisdom. That you show this justice not only in heaven, in the sky, in the afterlife, in terra, on earth, and in the bad world, in other words, in this Inferno. Io vidi per le coste e per lo fondo piena la pietra livida dei fori, d'un largo tutti e ciascuno era tondo. So he saw these little wells, circular wells, and there are the souls in there. And of course, the last one has his feet out. But when the next one arrives, pushes the other one down. Non mi pareano men ampi né maggiori che quel che son nel mio bel San Giovanni, fatti per loco di battezzatori. So he refers, you know, they're not bigger or smaller than the ones in San Giovanni in Firenze, l'un dei quali, one of which, ancor non è mort'anni, roppio per un che dentro vannegava. So I broke it because somebody was annegare. What's that? When you're dying underwater. E questo sia su gel cognom scanne. And this is what happens to people who sin this way. Fuor della bocca a ciascun soperchiava d'un peccatore li piedi e delle gambe infino al grosso e l'altro dentro stava. Le piante erano a tutti accese entrambe perché sì forte guizzavano le giunte che spezzate venivano ritorte strambe. So this is the actual physical description of these wells, these small wells where you could fit a human body. And don't forget, it goes on forever, really, that little well, because you're pushing one soul on top of another, on top of another. But the last one has got burning feet. Qual suole il fiammeggiar delle cose unte, muoversi pur su per la strema buccia, Tarera gli dà i calcagni alle punte. That's the description of i calcagni, you know, under the feet. Chi è colui, maestro, che si cruccia guizzando più che gli altri suoi consorti, dissi io, e cui più roggia fiamma succia? So this is again Dante, he's got his guide, maestro, that's Virgilio, and he says, but who is that guy there that seems to be moving his feet a lot more than others? Welcome to Zoraida. Thank you for watching, for following too, I hope. Dice a cui più roggia fiamma succia. Why the flame on his feet is moving more than others? Ed egli a me, and here is Virgilio says, and he said to me, se tu vuoti ti porti là giù per quella ripa che più giace, da lui saprai di sé e dei suoi torti. So if you really want me to, I'll take you down and you can ask him directly and he'll give you the answer. You know, so let's go. E io, and I, he replies Dante, tanto m'è bel quanto a te piace. Whatever you say, mio maestro, whatever you like, I like. Tu sei Signore, io the Lord, e sai che non mi parto dal tuo volere. And, you know, he could not follow Signore in those times. Noble people, they were really arrogant, honestly, and very powerful. You wouldn't want to, you know, if you were of a lower class, you couldn't go there, you'd be killed. E sai quel che si tace. And you know when I have to be also to be quiet about this. Allora venimmo in sull'argine quarto, volgemmo e discendemmo a mano stanca, laggiù nel fondo forecchiato e arto. So here we are, mano stanca, the left. Laggiù nel fondo, so this is the fourth argine, the fourth steps, or area going down. Lo buon maestro ancor della sua anca non mi dispose, si mi giunse al rotto di quel che si piangea con la zanca. And so Virgilio keeps going, and he says he didn't, you know, he did exactly what he said he would do, and brought him to the soul. O qualche sé che il di sottien di sotto, anima trista come pal commessa. This is Dante talking now and referring himself to the soul whose feet is moving about. O qualche sé, or who are you, che di su tien di sotto, anima trista come pal commessa, cominciai io a dir, se puoi fa morto, if you can, talk to me. Io stavo come il frate che confessa lo perfido assassin, che poi che fitto richiama lui perché la morte cessa. So I am like that father confessor listening to the assassino, to the murderer who wants to confess just before he dies. You know, to pick up on Dante's sense of humor, this is one of them. He's always got something against those religious people. They must have been very bad, because Machiavelli also talks about them. Boccaccio. It was part of the culture. And in fact, I had the pleasure, between you and me, of being a frate in the play La Mandragola by Machiavelli, my own production, which is available to be seen on TomPadula on YouTube, TomPadulaTV on YouTube, and theatre. You go to playlists, you pick it up, and there's La Mandragola there, with subtitles as well. Amazing. It took about 14, 15 years to do. Oh well, let's go on. So io stavo come il frate che confessa lo perfido assassin, che poi che fitto richiama lui perché la morte cessa. Ed el gridò, and he screamed, sei tu già così ritto, sei tu già così ritto, Bonifacio. He calls him Boniface. It was the current pope of the time when Dante was alive. Di parecchi anni mi mentì lo scritto. Se tu si tosto di quell'aver saggio, per lo qual non temesti torre e inganno, la bella donna e poi di farne strazio. Tal mi fec'io, quai son color che stanno, per non intender ciò che l'ho riposto, quasi scornati e rispondere non sanno. So he says, you Boniface. So now Dante reflects, what's going on here? I'm not Boniface. He goes quiet. So, you know, l'inganno, it's sort of the fraud, you know, the behind the scenes stuff. Tal mi fec'io. So I became, I didn't have words to say to this guy. You Boniface, how do I reply to that? And so Virgilio disse, so the guide says, don't worry, dilli tosto, tell him straight, non son colui che credi. I'm not the one that you believe. E io risposi come a me fu imposto. And I replied as I had been suggested to me by my guide, by Virgilio. Perché lo spirito tutti storse I piedi. So when the soul heard that, gosh, his feet began to move even faster. Poi sospirando con voce di pianto mi disse, and then sighing and voce di pianto, as if he was crying, dunque a che mi richiedi? Se tu di saper chi sia ti calcò tanto, che tu abbi però la ripa corsa, sappi chi fui vestito del gran manto. So who are you asking me these things here? You know who I am, don't you? You know, you don't know, but I'm going to tell you now that I was a very important person in life. E veramente fui figliuolo dell'orsa, cupido, sì per avanzar gli orsotti che sull'avere, e qui mi misi in borsa. Now, I better read you who this guy was. I papi conficcati nel ruolo. So, let's have a look at Niccolò III scambia Dante per Papa Bonifacio VIII. So, Niccolò III, that was the Pope before Boniface the Eighth, avendo come gli altri dannati una certa cognizione del futuro, so he knew about the future, that he was going to end up coming there, sa che Bonifacio VIII arriverà a occupare quella bocca, he will come to that particular hole where he is, spingendolo giù, so pushing him down, più a fondo, schiacciandolo, and pushing amongst I papi simoniaci, the people who had committed the same sins as him. That's Niccolò III, che lo hanno preceduto, that preceded him. Dopo Bonifacio VIII toccherà Clemente V, so they already know who's going to come on next, che verrà dall'Occidente e precisamente dalla Guascogna, who come from l'Occidente, the West. So, from France, there were three popes at one stage. One of them was in France for a while, and yeah. So those popes there, they did all sorts of things. They didn't worry about religion at all. They were just the leaders of the religion. They did whatever they wanted. Okay, e veramente this is Papa Niccolò III. Centro del Canto è Papa Niccolò III, noto per la simonia quanto per il nepotismo. He also had, he put people in his own family, in positions of influence. Assegnò infatti cardinalati, he made cardinals, e altre cariche ai membri della sua famiglia. He comes from the Orsini family. Still in Rome, the Orsini family. Dante usa la parola zanca per designare gli arti del Papa, la zanca. You know, whatever the Pope wants, he can grab, like an eagle. Il termine compare solo un'altra volta nel canto 24esimo. This zanca will appear in Canto 24. Per le gambe di Lucifero. And this zanca will be a description of Lucifer, the ultimate devil. La coincidenza sembra suggerire che la Chiesa simoniaca tradisce la cristianità e conseguentemente Dio stesso. And this really means, this zanka, this act here, means that the church is betraying what it stands for in terms of true Christianity. And it's and as a result of that, you are betraying God himself. Non a caso Dante accusa i simoniaci di essere degli idolatri che adorano il denaro. So Dante accuses these simoniaci, the Simony people, the people who commit this sin, to be idolaters. And who did they believe in? They believed in money. So they loved money. Money is only got to distinguish between the love of money and just money. Money itself is a good thing if you use it properly. But the love of money is like an Uncle Scrooge. Doesn't go well. So let's go on. So those were the popes. Di sotto al capo mio sono gli altri tratti che precedettero. So Papa Clemente says, Niccolo III says, underneath me are the others who did the same thing as me. Di sotto al capo mio sono gli altri tratti che precedettero me simoneggiando per le fessure della pietra piatti. Laggiù cascherò io altresì quando verrà colui che credea che tu fossi. Chi credea che tu fossi. That's beautiful. Two subjunctives, one after the other. And if you do my Italian lessons on a Tuesday, that's where we're getting to eventually explaining the grammar. It helps a lot knowing the grammar to interpret some of this work. And I begin at the beginning and now getting towards the end of the first part of grammar, the regular parts of the grammar, of the 9 parts of speech. So, allora che gli fece, laggiù cascherò io altresì quando verrà colui che credea che tu fossi, allora chi fece il subito dimando. Ma più è il tempo già che pie mi cossi e che sono stato così sottosopra che non starà piantato coi piedi rossi, che dopo lui verrà di più laida opera di ver ponente un pastor senza legge, tal che conviene che lui a me ricuopra. So after Boniface, it's going to get even worse. And welcome to Maria Anna Cassino. Nuovo Iason sarà di cui si legge me Maccabei, e come a qual fu molle suo re, così fia lui chi Francia regge. These are the popes that came from Avignon, from France. And so an actual reference of what's going to happen, because the souls in heaven can foresee the future, but not in details. And welcome to Antonio Carlos as well. Good to see a few people, being interested in Dante here. Io non so se mi fui qui troppo folle, chi pur risposi lui a questo metro. De or mi di, quanto tesoro volle nostro Signore in prima de San Pietro, che ponesse le chiavi in sua balia. So Dante's going to do a bit of preaching himself. He says, now tell me something, you who, represented Christianity. What did St. Peter, what did Christ say to St. Peter when he said, I'm going to make you Pope, the first Pope? What did he say? And il Signore, Cristo said, the resurrected one, said, Vienmi retro, seguimi. So he didn't say, how much do you have to pay? He said, all you have to do is follow his words. Nostro Signore, in prima da San Pietro che ponesse le chiavi in suo. Certo non chiese che se non vienmi retro, come after me, that's it. Né Pier né gli altri tolsero a Mattia oro o d'argento quando fu sortito al loco che perde l'anima ria. Però ti sta che tu sei ben punito e guarda ben la mal tolta moneta che esser ti fece contro Carlo Ardito. So it says, and here Dante hits back. His divine justice, you're suffering because of what you committed on earth, and so right it be. Of course, what's going to happen. Here we're going to get a little bit of softy, Virgilio, looking at Dan, says, oh, this guy is learning about the sins that you can't commit or the punishments that go with these. E se non fosse ancora l'ommivieta, la reverenza delle somme chiavi che tu tenesti nella vita lieta, io userei parole ancora più gravi. And if I didn't respect the keys of St. Peter, they were given to you. He still, even though he's in hell, he still has respect for the office of Pope. You just got to do the office properly. That's what politicians have to learn. They've got to do the office properly. You get whatever remuneration you have to live, but no more. You've got to be totally impartial in your ways. Justitia. And Dante's learning that. Sometimes you've got to be hard in order to get justice. So he said, io userei parole ancora più gravi. I would even use stronger words against you. Io userei parole ancora più gravi. Che la vostra avarizia, your avarice, il mondo attrista, makes the world sad, a sad place. Calcando i buoni e sollevando i bravi. Kneeling down, scalpitando, putting their feet on the good and lifting up i bravi, the deprived ones. Di voi pastor s'accorse il Vangelista, quando colei che siede sopra l'acque puttaneggiar corregge a lui fu vista. Quella che con le 7 teste nacque e dalle 10 corna ebbe argomento, finché virtute al suo marito piacque. So this was la bestia con 7 teste e 10 corna. Now this one here is a reference to this particular monster, really. Dante richiama il capitolo 17 dell'Apocalisse, interpretando la profezia di San Giovanni Evangelista come un riferimento ai papi simoniaci. So in the Apocalisse. Okay, so I think it's in the Bible. Yeah, have to check that one too. Well, there you are. E alle loro contaminazioni con il potere temporale che corrompono e prostituiscono la Chiesa. So the temporal powers, the fact that they had a state to run, they corrupt the Christian values. So there must be a division between the church and the state. In other words, the temporal riches and the spiritual ones. I think Pope Francis tries to do that, but at the end of the day, he also lives. The church is very rich. I mean, if you don't have the money too, you can't run all the things that you do. So in a way, it depends on what you do with it. But anyway, let's go on. Che corrompono, so they corrupt and prostituiscono la Chiesa and prostitute the church, le cui 7 teste rappresentano i sacramenti e i doni dello Spirito Santo. The 7 heads of this particular monster represent i sacramenti, the sacraments. But this is the opposite. This is il contrappasso. The sacraments, and then the 7 virtues and the 7 sins. So these parts of the sins. Mentre le corna simboleggiano i 10 comandamenti. So here, I don't know, you have to look it up a bit more here. For me, the best, they look like this particular monster refers to the popes and their powers. And the fact that each one of the sacraments, they are not following the Christian values. That's the way I see it, but you need a bit more study here. So, quella che con le 7 teste nacque, dalle 10 corna ebbe argomento, finché virtute al suo marito piacque. Fatto v'avete Dio d'oro e d'argento, e che l'altro è da voi è l'idolatre, se non che egli è uno, e voi ne orate 100. So we're talking about, again, money and the problem that we have with temporal riches and spiritual ones. Ai Costantin, di quanto mal fu madre, non la tua conversione, ma quella dota che da te presi il primo ricco padre. They saw Constantine, King Constantine here, because, you know, he was the one who gave temporal power to the church. Before Constantine, under the Roman Empire, the Christians were all true Christians because they were punished on earth. They were in the Colosseum. After that, that's it. Then the Christians, after Constantine, they became, you know, they were in love with money and power. Not all of them, but quite a few. E mentre io li cantava cotei note, o iro coscienza che il mordesse, forte spingava con ambo le piote. And whilst I was telling him off, the Pope, you know, this Pope here, Niccolo, was moving his legs even more and the flames even harder. And credo ben che al mio duca piacesse, and I believe that, you know, my guide, my duca, my maestro, Virgilio, liked what I said. Con sì contenta labbia sempre attese le suon delle parole vere espresse. He really loved it. Però con ambo le braccia mi prese. He took me with his arms and he said, oh my God, what have you done? You've learned about divine justice, or you're learning about it, and you are telling these people what they should have done, that they didn't do. E poi che tutto su mi sebbe al petto, rimontò per la via onde discese. And after he hugged me very strongly, he went down to the next, you know, gotta go there to the next bolgia, next one. Ne si stancò d'avermi a sé distretto, si men portò sopra il colmo dell'arco che dal quarto al quinto argine traghetto. Insomma, quarto al quinto argine c'è un traghetto. They have, obviously, there's some water there. We're going to meet some lovely devils soon. Quivi soavemente sposi il carco, soave per lo scoglio sconcio ed erto che sarebbe alle capre duro varco. So, you know, goats are very famous for going up the hills. So there, you know, we were so high, we couldn't, you know, we couldn't really go down properly without some sort of help. Indi un altro vallon mi fu scoperto, e so I saw down un altro vallon, un'altra valle, a valley. And so that's the end of Canto 19, I simoniaci. So people commit sins in their religion, who use their religion for gain. And this applies to the sects too, not just to Catholics or Christians, to everyone. Everyone is under the same problem. Well, I've taken an extra 7 minutes to do this because, you know, that's how it is. Unfortunately, this is what happens with Dante. Some of them need more explanation. And may I say, I'm beginning to understand him a lot better as I move along. As I move along, it's incredible. And I find this even with reading a novel or whatever. Once you get through the first few chapters, the whole thing becomes a lot easier. Now, I've been writing since I was very young. And one of the time which I always wrote was scrivere di notte, writing at night. Now, this piece here, I probably wrote about 40 years ago. Writing at night. Why did I get up when everyone else was asleep? And I just got up and had a pen and paper and began to write my poetry, etc. Because I've been doing this for a long, long time. So after about 10 years, I thought I reflected. And here we go. I'm going to read it to you, and then we'll see how much time I've got to show you a few places of Caserta. In Italy, near Naples. Beautiful. La Reggia di Caserta. Scrivere di notte. Now this is in Italian. Mi trovo di nuovo davanti a questa carta bianca, così seduto a questo tavolino della mia cucina. Lo faccio spesso questo capolino perché il mio dormire mi viene interrotto quasi ogni notte. Sento un richiamo, quasi giornaliero, un vivo desiderio di scrivere qualcosa per soddisfare quest'animo irrequieto. E penso a tante cose. So I get up in the middle of the night and I think, gosh, ma è possibile che sono così matto? Is it possible when people say, are you mad, getting up, you should be sleeping? Chi si alza tardi in mezzo alla notte? Io lo faccio per scoprire un po' la quiete che regna ininterrotta, quando lì fuori tutto dorme e si riposa. Beautiful, night is mine. Ricordo questa mia abitudine anche da bambino, quando mi svegliavo per questo mio richiamo. Even as a child I used to wake up and maybe use my fantasy for whatever. Dicevo sempre che lo scrivere per me è una passione, è un bisogno dell'esuberanza di questo spirito vagabondo che vuole girare tutto il mondo ed anche lì nell'universo, in quell'immensità sconosciuta, per attraversare il tutto, per trovare la realtà e la verità. Like Don Quixote, you want to discover reality and the truth. It doesn't matter whether it's this world or the universe. E difatti in questo viaggiare a tavolino, I call it journey on my table, scopri te stesso, you discover yourself, il tuo valore in mezzo a queste cose, in mezzo agli umani. What are you worth amongst all the things and amongst humans? Mi dicono, o meglio sento che qualcuno possa dirmi, ma che sei scemo ad alzarti la notte per queste scimmiottaggini? Non hai niente da fare, ma riposati. Chi pensi di essere? Non lo vedi l'ordine prestabilito? Tutto è a posto nel suo luogo predeterminato. E mi trovo di nuovo un po' sperduto e faccio le mie cose e tanti piani. Vedo che questi pensieri mi fanno compagnia perché sono le voci giornaliere della vita mia. These are the voices that I hear. Tutto il mio mondo è qui presente ed è schedato nella mia mente. And people say, don't forget about the past. Me, I'm like, I file everything away of the past. It's a file. When you pick it up, you just pick it up and go. As long as you forgive and you don't make a big fuss of it. There's no need. Good and bad exist. Al ritiro dalla mia esperienza, a volte sogno le cose che voglio fare, spesso rivivo qui seduto i vari momenti che ho già vissuto. Ma che importa questo mio viaggiare? Qui devo essere realista per dire a ben pochi. It's true. You know, there are friends of mine who sing songs and they've got hundreds of people following them. I do Dante, something new every week, and only a few people. But it's important because those are repetitive things and people need to enjoy themselves. And this is learning. This is discovering yourself. This is a very serious journey, the journey about yourself. Però io trovo in questo mio cammino le tante escursioni della vita. Ognuno ha tanti obblighi, tante cose, tante necessità che lo legano ad un'esistenza, alle proprie esperienze. Non sempre sono riuscito a capire la vita, ma a poco ho sempre trovato che esiste una via, a volte tante strade che ti portano dove vuoi. La scelta che fai dipende da dove vai, da chi sei. Se tu sei chiuso nella tua importanza, se apprezzi solo la tua esistenza, diventi sempre più egoista. Però se tu ami, se trovi dentro quei sentimenti di voler far bene, allora il tuo cammino comincia a prendere tutto un altro aspetto. Diventa importante l'avventura che ti apporta la fantasia. So the adventures of your fantasy will lead you in other places. E cominci a liberarti dalle cose immediate, dalle preoccupazioni, dalle varie delusioni ed anche dal successo, dall'esaltazione, dalla tua vanità. Insomma, acquisti quell'obiettività di vedere un po' più di là, oltre l'immediato, oltre il mondo regolato. Scopri quell'universo interiore delle emozioni, dei sistemi di vita, dei desideri, della vera ricchezza di questa umanità. So you free yourself by writing things down It allows you to do lots of things. Però quando ti trovi davanti a questi sentimenti, fai una pausa per farti un po' coraggio. You need a bit of courage to go on. Ogni qualvolta che mi trovo qua, vedo due punti ben delineati, quando sono nato e quando morirò. Every time I sit down, I think of when I was born and when I will go, when I'll return to where I came from. È tutto il mezzo dove vivo, and all that's in between. L'esperienza della vita già vissuta mi guida a ricercare la ragione perché sono qua. And I want to know the reason why I'm here. E comincio ad apprezzare un po' la vita, la grande varietà, la sua confusione, la sua fragilità. E guardo intorno e trovo che ogni cosa ha il suo limite, il suo principio, la vanagloria, il punto alto prima della sconfitta e la fine. C'è un continuo crearsi di flussi e riflussi, come le onde del mare vicino alla costiera. È un susseguirsi di eventi, di fatti, e gli alti e i bassi sono presenti per tutti, ma non tutti sono allo stesso punto della vita. Ogni cosa, ogni situazione segue il suo cammino. A volte ci si incontra al di sopra di un'ondata, a volte si raschia il punto più basso, rasenti alla sabbia, sulla superficie delle cose che noi non possiamo oltrepassare. Quindi si scopre la verità della propria esistenza e di quella degli altri. È un'esistenza limitata nella sua durata e nel suo tempo. Ed è a questo punto dove cominciamo a valorizzare il nostro mondo, il mondo passato, il mondo degli altri e tutti gli altri mondi che noi conosciamo o no. E poi si valorizza l'individuo al di sopra delle nostre emozioni, con una certa obiettività. Però sempre sono presenti queste belle emozioni, i nostri interessi, i nostri voleri, che a volte sono come questa oscurità in mezzo alla notte. Non ci fanno vedere bene, però ci fanno sentire dentro, ci portano ansie e paure, incertezze e delusioni, ma anche la riflessione, la pace. Qui troviamo che possiamo fare qualcosa per noi stessi ed un po' per gli altri. A volte qualcuno riesce ad avere anche il suo momento di gloria quando comunica con gli altri da lontano, come con questo scrivere, che ti dà il potere di parlare come vuoi, senza restrizioni. E poi vedi le tue idee, il tuo pensiero tutto insieme e leggi il tuo creato. Lo puoi riesaminare, ammirarlo ed anche criticarlo, anche cambiarlo se tu vuoi. Tutto questo era chiuso là nella mia mente e mi sono alzato per farlo nascere in mezzo alla notte. Anche questo scritto ha una sua vita, breve o lunga, non fa niente. Posso io buttarlo via nel cestino o esserne orgoglioso. O posso prendere in mano questo mio creato e godere la sua compagnia fino all'albo, quando la notte, stanca di dormire, dà il via al giorno per iniziare un'altra ondata di vita in questa città, in questo mio mondo. Quite a powerful reflection, really. And that finished the first chapter of Amica Poesia, the first one. There are 3 of them. The next one will be about reflection, and I'll continue. But I think next week I might read that in English for those people who don't speak Italian very well. And, you know, that's the way it is. Now, we've got a bit of time. Let's see if I can fit in some of my overseas travels. But I have to go back to where I was. Yes, no, maybe. Yeah, I always have the problems here. Every time I try to get back, there you are. Never mind. We'll do it again. We'll do it properly this time. Yes, here it is. I've got it. But, you know, I lost the place where I was before I came to you. But don't worry, we'll get there. Doesn't take long. And then once I'm there, it'll be fine. It'll be a lot of fun. Where are we? Where are we? Here we are, Caserta. Now, in Caserta, we went to a bed and breakfast, and I met, father and daughter were there. So I'm going to start, and then I'll just continue in and out as I normally do. Okay, so we'll start with this young lady here. There we are. Siamo qui a Caserta,
alla residenza Carlo di Borbone, e facciamo vedere l'appartamento?
No,
vabbè, ora purtroppo
parliamo dell'appartamento, è molto comodo.
L'appartamento è molto comodo, c'è il bagno, la cucina, 2 stanze, il parcheggio.
E poi ci sei anche tu.
E poi ci sono anch'io.
Che dai il benvenuto.
Certo.
Benissimo, guarda, grazie Eliana. Poi faremo altro un po' in più.
Certo.
Ma per cominciare è stato proprio bello. Grazie. Okay. Now this one here went to the Reggia di Caserta. Here we are. Have a look. And we took a little bus to went up. This is the Reggia. How beautiful a place. This is near Naples, Caserta. You can look it up. Believe it or not, to take this footage here, I had to make my way to the front. You've got to work it out. But I was lucky because I went in last and remained in the front. Well, this is going up the gardens of the Reggia di Caserta. What a wonderful place. Incredible. Just to think this is a combination of Spanish and the French words. Look at this. Apparently Caserta is the biggest Reggia in the world. The United Nations jewel. This compares to Versailles, by the way. Versailles, you got similar type of gardens, but this very spectacular, really. And it's well maintained now. It is a tourist attraction, but of course, tourism, you always need more tourists to maintain these places. Oh, welcome, Angela. This is Caserta. And my sister Angela is here. Very good, Angela. It gets more interesting as you move along, but you know, you've got to follow the trail. There's more to come. Here we are. This one here, this particular footage, is even more interesting. What a wonderful place. Takes a bit of work to hold the camera. And it was a hot day too. amazing place. Yeah.
Senza dei sci, nei condotti, facciamo, facciamo un po'.
Look at that.
E poi moleste, quando le lavate, questo subisce ti vanno 10, gli altri ci vedono, facciamo, e poi facciamo un giro di questo velocità di diversi
You can go there with a little bus, or you can walk. Takes a while, but going up, we took the bus, and down we walked. When you're on holidays, look at that, beautiful.
lì comunque c'è più già vicino, quando arrivo? Arrivi a settembre. Ci sta lì, c'è tu già sta bicicletta,
E siamo arrivati, siamo, eh?
Sì.
Bravo, grazie. Now, this is the next lot. Easier to film here. We go further in. A bit of an intro. What a spectacular place here, right at the top of the Regia. The park is absolutely wonderful, amazing, and how lucky I am today to be here. Luck had it that the last spot on the bus, and I was able to film coming up. That made me very, very happy. Here I am at the top of the gardens of the Caserta Regia, they call it. It's a work that was constructed by the French and before that the Spaniards. And I'm not quite sure, I have to check this out. I'm very, very happy to be here with Angela. Come on, big smile, Angela. We have a young videographer here helping us out. Thank you very much. And what's your name?
My name is Alicia.
Alicia, very nice. Thank you very much. Okay? Done. There she is, Alicia. On m'a dit que tu parles français très bien.
Bon, oui.
Oui, merci pour avoir me videographe. De rien. Non, non, c'est très...
C'est pas un problème.
Non?
Non, pas.
Il m'a dit que tu parles l'anglais.
Oui, je parle un peu d'anglais, un peu de français.
E l'italiano,
E l'italiano, sì, oui.
Ok, va bene. Allora, come ti chiami?
Alicia.
Alicia, grazie mille per averci fatto il video prima.
Di niente, è sempre un piacere.
È sempre un piacere, grazie e ci vediamo forse in televisione.
Va bene.
Ciao, 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 ciao. Yeah, because I use this particular footage for my Koala with TomPadula at the time. But really, we should be throwing some money. And there's Alicia again. There we are, and all the people visiting here. And Angela, we're going to walk right down from here to the palace. It's a wonderful place here. Really cool. What a beautiful place, Reggio di Caserta. Wouldn't mind going back there again. And also then there are hundreds of rooms which contain a lot of artworks. Here, so these are some of the fish in those waters. Well maintained, and the birds, of course. So I asked them to leave. Well done. A bit more. Now, this is interesting because a bit of
Welcome
terminology.
TomPadulaTV from Caserta, Casa Irta.
Hi.
Hi, and this is Carmine Iodice. And Carmine has been telling me beautiful things about the area, but I will let him speak. Allora Carmine, dove siamo e cosa stiamo facendo oggi?
Allora, siamo a Caserta Vecchia, anticamente si chiamava Casa Hirta. Visiteremo questo borgo medievale ancora interamente abitato.
Ah, va bene. Allora, c'è qualcos'altro che mi vorresti dire di questa zona a riguardo del turismo? Cioè, a chi vuoi invitare dall'Australia?
Io invito tutti a visitare queste zone perché oltre a 4.000 anni di storia c'è molta ospitalità da parte nostra.
So your hospitality here is well renowned. We are in fact in a bed and breakfast area. There are plenty of them in Caserta, and you know what to do, of course. And now we're going to walk up to Casa Hirta. Okay. But Carmine is an incredible person because he's taken us here. Without him, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So if you come here, you have truly a good person who can take you around. And they can help you with everything else. So give him a call whenever you want. Carmine, allora andiamo su?
Andiamo su, ci vediamo dopo.
Ok.
Another one. This was Sopra, but this one is the interesting one, and then we'll finish.
Very interesting to hear Carmine talking about Neapolitan literature. Allora, Carmine, dimmi un po' la differenza dal napoletano e dei partenopei in termini di cultura.
Allora, il termine napoletano in effetti era riferito fino all'Unità d'Italia a tutti gli abitanti del Regno di Napoli, mentre gli abitanti di Napoli, nativi a Napoli città, erano chiamati partenopei, napoletani ma partenopei, per distinguere la parte del regno, degli abitanti del regno e dei nativi a Napoli.
Quindi tutti quelli del nord, quando si riferivano alla gente
Ancora
del sud,
oggi,
erano tutti
ancora
napoletani.
Quando sentono parlare qualcuno un dialetto del sud dicono napoletani, e hanno ragione, in effetti hanno ragione, perché anche loro si sono portati con le loro radici, magari dalle loro avi, e quando passavano Roma, venivano nel Regno di Napoli, venivano dai napoletani.
E quindi anch'io che sono lucano ero napoletano.
Ero napoletano, abitanti del
Ma io
Regno
adesso
di
sono
Napoli.
australiano pure, quindi
Questa è la differenza
delle due cose. Guarda che interessante il fatto di questa nuova ottica sul sud. Grazie mille Carmine.
Grazie
Thank you
a
very
voi.
much. Thank you very much Carmine Iodice, because you truly are a fountain of knowledge of the south of Italy and in terms of modern Italy. Thank you very much. Please continue to do your work. Grazie mille di nuovo.
Grazie a voi.
Grazie, ciao, ciao.
Well, I thought I went over 5 minutes because I wanted to fit in all what I had on Caserta. I hope you enjoyed today's hour. I have, looking at Dante. Now, I will be putting this on my Facebook page, of course, and you'll be able to access it straight away from the beginning. keep going. I should receive this week some Inferno books from Italy, and I have the Purgatorio and Paradiso. If anyone wants them, come and see me, or I don't know, contact me somehow. That's it for today. I will, of course, come back to you on Tuesday for another lesson, Italian lesson, and then Thursday we continue with the the world history, and I think I might do one more on China, and then I'll keep going around the world. Okay, grazie from Tom Padula, TomPadulaTV on YouTube, and also Insegna Booksellers, and everything else. Ciao, stay safe, stay well, alla prossima. And now I'm going to close up and finish off. Ciao.